Thought I'd make another step-by-step tutorial on loading in your image planes into source image file and getting the project folder to load up your image planes. So for beginners, it's just a simple matter of remembering to uh, set your project first, then open the scene file with your image planes in that scene. So most most beginners open the scene file directly from the project without setting the project first, and then the image planes don't load. So that is an easy thing to fix. It's also extremely easy to forget. So let's see. This is again, it's a multi-design uh, process. This is you see the registration marks. This was drawn by hand, colored pencils for stop motion puppet. So, but I have the front and side with the feet on there. We don't have the costume on here yet. We're just getting the body done. We also don't have his cap yet. We're treating that as a separate costume item that we can design and swap out, basically a wearable for the cap of the little myconoid mushroom character. So let's go in and so we have the side view, we have the front view. The If I turn on my um, extras here in Photoshop, right, you should have your alignment should be dead center down the middle. Yeah, I should also have the floor. So this front and side view, just make sure that the registration that they're equal. Any images you want to put off to the side, these open areas, for instance, this one I have a side view of the foot. That's kind of blown up. I have the top view of the foot, I should say. And I know his hands are too big. I want to make his hands a little smaller. After I made the sculpture and was dealing with handheld items, I realized his hand, the length of the fingers was kind of becoming a problem. Also, his feet are really big in proportion to his body, and so they're kind of floppy. So I might have him up on the ball of his foot. I should have drawn an underneath view as well. I'll deal with that for when I get into ZBrush, which I have a base mesh started. So we're going to take a look at the space mesh here in Maya, and we're going to align it more closely to the actual image planes, so that way we can um, really do the sculptural detail of the anatomy. So that'll be the next step after we get the basic form in with good edge loops. We're going to sculpt the detail in there. Let's go ahead and take a peek. Yeah, I can't stress enough that when you make your folder, you need to know where your folder is at. So the path I'm going to show on my recording is nonsense for everybody. So you make sure you create your project folder in a place inside your main drive or external drive, whatever you're using, and make a shortcut for it, something, write it down. But more and more, I see at least my intro students are really having a hard time just because they don't know where they put their folder. And I can't help you with that. You have to be organized enough to know where your folder is. So yeah, no, I have a hard time with it too. So I get it. It's something you have to learn as a digital artist. So inside this folder, I have my own ZBrush folder in there, but the autosave, the images, scene, source image right here. So source images, this is where we're going to drop the front and side image planes. Let's go ahead and do that. So inside of my organized folder here, you can see I have a folder just for model sheets. And there's the original like super graphical simple one that from a couple years ago, and here's the image plane 2004 front, and this one should say side. Here's also image plane for the foot. So I'm gonna grab each of these three. So this one, actually, let's just rename this now. So this one here should be image plane 2024 side. You noticed, wait, what's happening here? I want to rename you. So, so yeah, good naming conventions is important. So side, I don't know why that's happened. Okay, anyway. So I'll take the side view, I'll take the front view, I'll take the foot, and I'm just going to copy and paste them into my source images folder inside my Mush 2024 Maya project folder. So I make my project, right? You put the source images into the project folder. And now let's open up Maya and set the project and load in our image planes. Okay, so many of you are going to have a different interface for this, but in general, when you open up Maya, here's where you set your current project, right? And here's where you have your recents on there. So setting the current project is really important. So if I go here to set the project, I should be able to um, set the project first. So just remember, every single time you sit down to work in Maya, you set your project first, right? So Mush, 3D Mush, sure, you don't go down inside of here. I'm gonna go up a level. I'm gonna choose the actual project folder. All right, so I set that first. Now I hit open and it's gonna default. It should go to that folder and to the scenes folder inside there. So I have all this stuff in there. So let's see what I had in there most recently. I don't think there's anything too dramatic in there. But yeah, it's going to always remind me of an educational version if you're on your .edu. So here we go. So here's what I had before. So nothing spectacular. This was, again, an exercise in simple 8-sided shapes for the arms and legs, the fingers, and yeah, like little conical bottom. And I think I still had at the time, I saw the cap attached as one single. So this was about as simple as you could get, right? No anatomy, nothing special, just a simple biped recipe with nice edge loops so that I could very easily turn him into a more anatomically correct character. But let's go in here and make a new scene. So I'm going to go new scene, go to my 4 viewport setting, and you want to load your image planes in through the correct viewport. So front view, image plane, import image. It should default to the image plane front. There it is. It's right there. Looks like there's the foot. There's the old concept. There's a texture map. There's a UV layout. So I have other stuff in that source images folder. Right? There's the foot, but there's my front viewport. So front viewport, front image plane open. There it is. See, it's really little. Go to my side view, view, image plane, import image. And let's grab the side one, which I tried to rename, but it wasn't letting me for some reason. There we go. And there's the side view. Okay, and then in the 3D viewport, you'll see there's our little itty bitty image planes. And if you did everything correctly in Photoshop, you see the tops of the head align perfectly, the little registration marks line up, the ground at the feet should line up nice, and we are good to go. Okay, let's go ahead and resize this thing and make sure that when I reopen this file, it'll be open. So I'm going to go File, Save Scene As. It should default to your path, right? That you are all managing properly where that folder is. Should go to the scenes folder in there. So this one here now, so I'm going to rename this one Mush09, so different scene, right? Different iteration. That's old versions of stuff from 2017. Whoa. Yeah, this is old. I've been working on this thing for a long time as a class demo. There we go. Okay, so now what I can do is make a human reference plane. So if I go in here to my cylinder tool, right, I just made a cylinder, but if I want to make it a certain size, I go polyprimitive, interactive creation, create polyprimitive cylinder, pull up the settings file, and we want to make it average human height, right? So you can go your centimeters to inches. Let's test that out. Okay, so we just hop into Google and go feet to centimeters. So 6 foot to centimeters is 180 centimeters. And if I wanted to go the other way around, so let's go, what I had been using is 160 centimeters, 5'2". It's a little on the shorter side, but that's my average that I had been using for a long time. So maybe 170 centimeters or even 180 centimeters is average human height. Let's see, 75, whatever. So I do want my little mush character to be a little on the shorter side. So I want him to be 5 feet tall. So I'll just go 5 feet. So 152 centimeters tall. Great. So let's go into the height of the cylinder and just type in 150 centimeters. And for radius, just give it enough so it's kind of proportion enough so you can see well. Let's go like 25 centimeters should be all right. And if I click one time, if I enter on the keyboard, let's see, click one time, there we go. Even though interactive creation is on, if I enter it manually in the tool settings, it's going to create this for me. So now I can close that window, hold down D and then V. Just grab the circle, always grab the little yellow circle in the middle of the, right? If I hold down D, it switches to a circle when I hold down D and V together. It's going to snap to the vertex. I then let go with my left mouse button. I then hold down X on the keyboard. You see it switches to circle, and then I click and it drags up and it snaps to the grid. So that way I know my feet are firmly flat on the ground, and this is my height that I'm shooting for my character. So let's go ahead and resize the image planes to that. There we go. And I just remember to turn my key visualization back on so I could see a little better. There we go. Alt. You see now that I'm actually going. And this should be pretty straightforward. Let me grab both those image planes and I'm going to use the scale tool, R, and scale them up. We could even use the X-ray mode. That's why using the image planes is nice because it doesn't operate. If I turn on X-ray mode, I still see my image plane. There we go. And if I need to, once I get the feet flat on the floor, I hold down D and I can move the pivot down here right on the ground like that. And that way, if I'm scaling from that location, it's going to use that as the pivot. So there we go. So now I can scale up and down the pivot. There we go. And you can see it right to that line right there. That's pretty much spot on. I'm happy with that. And the other thing we did in the other videos, I'll just reiterate, is to go to the attribute editor, the other attribute editor, there we go. Go to the alpha gain and just turn that down so that we can actually see through our image planes. I also do a color gain down a little bit. And I thought I had both of the image planes. Like, I'm not doing that one. I would do them both at the same time, I guess. All right. So there we go. That adjust it for your own needs. You want to be able to see. So if I hit the X-ray mode and I hit Alt 5 on the keyboard, right? And if that's not working, we'll go to wireframe on shaded. There we go. Now, if I have this cylinder, this is my poly cylinder, let's give it some more height subdivisions. You see the wires. If I am shaping this to my image planes, I can see pretty well where my model is and where my image planes are. Also, Alt B on the keyboard is going to change your background. So there's the blue, there's black, right? And you can also turn your grid on and off. So get into a view that works for you. So this one here, I have, if I go into the alpha gain, see I turn those down. That one's at 50%. That one's down a little bit. See how the other one is. That one's up a little higher. Excuse me, a little lower. So let's make sure that we can see. Oh, okay, it's from the color gain. And see this one here. I'm making sure that those both work really well. And then colors here, right? So play with your color gain and alpha gain until you are satisfied that as you bring your model in and position it to your image planes that you can see what on earth you're doing. Isn't that nice? In the front view plane, and you can, it should adjust them while you're modeling too. Don't be afraid to do, this is the first setting here in the image plane. You click on them. And I'm going to group those together and we'll call that image plane. And I'm going to go to the channel layer and let's make sure they're both selected here. So go into the image plane with the groups. Hold down Shift to grab all of them. The very far right icon is create a new layer and assign the selected object. So that way everything that I had selected automatically gets assigned. And let's name this layer image plane so you can turn it on and off easily. We'll go image planes. Now, if you wanted to switch the channel layer to turn on and off the front and side view, of course you can add that. That's how I've given you the biped recipe folder. This is a pretty nice setup. Okay, let's go ahead and save again. You see the little asterisk there, hasn't been saved. So Control S, we know it's going to the right location. And let's